Hi, I'm Dr. Quinn Gentry with Messages of Empowerment Productions, and I just exposed my business on BizLinks TV network. Learn more about living your best life now, coming up on my episode of That's My Biz on bizlinks.tv.
That's My Biz is sponsored by Visita Live Site and Constant Contact. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of That's My Biz. I'm Pamela Alexander, your host, and as always, we enjoy bringing to you the wonderful businesses, nonprofits, and associations that we meet when we're out there networking. We want to remind you, make sure you get out your pen and your paper because you're going to have some great notes to take today, but also make sure you go back to www.bizlinks.tv, share it with your family and friends. Also go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/BizLinksTV. Make sure that you like us. Also go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/BizLinksTV. Don't forget to subscribe. That way you stay up to date on current episodes. And then also please make sure that you give us some thumbs up and give us some feedback for our guests as well. And you know we're on Instagram too at guess what? BizLinksTV. I want to dive right in because we have a fantastic guest with us today. We have Dr. Quinn Gentry. Welcome.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Now, she is a social and behavioral scientist with Message of Empowerment, and what that is all about. She's a management consulting company, provide organizational effectiveness, women's health, program evaluation, and community engagement. But we're going to dive into what all that really means. But first, Dr. Quinn, I want to get to tell everybody, what is a social and behavioral scientist?
Okay. So a social and behavior scientist is a person that studies either sociology, social work, psychology, and criminal justice.
Okay.
But what it is we basically challenge that everything happens from the inside out, and we say that it must be the environment.
Okay.
Like when we diagnose or when we look at a situation, observe, we start from the outside and come in.
Okay.
We look at the social environment that then impacts the behaviors.
Okay.
So then we work hand in hand with psychologists and interventionists to talk about what's happening in totality as it relates to the person's social environment that may be making them have certain risky behaviors.
Okay.
So,
and now you know. So now you have some messages of empowerment. So TEAM-MOE.
Yay!
Tell everyone what that's all about.
Okay, so we're a consulting firm, and being in a public health field, I knew that I wanted a name that reflected my personality and my brand, and I didn't want a clinical sounding name, the institution of, and, because it just makes people afraid, and I knew that my brand was to take clinical interventions and things that we know that happen in a clinical setting and bring them to mainstream, right? Almost as a preventive. Let's work in the environment and in the community with some preventive messages and with some preventive intervention techniques that would keep people from having to go into clinical, right? So I wanted a name that was fun and that was reflective of my personality. Messages of Empowerment. Let me give you some messages to empower you. But the word messages really comes from the fact that growing up, especially in growing up the way I grew up in the Perry Homes community, there's a lot of negative messages. What is not said can be a negative message. What is directly said can be a negative message. What you experience in the environment, all are negative messages. So I knew that before I could pour in empowerment into people, I had to unpack those negative messages, right? So that's what I meant. And then the TEAM-MOE comes from the fact that I'm an entrepreneur at heart, and I love partnering with other organizations. So we have teaming agreements. So we get a lot done. And look, and from a business strategy, it keeps me from having a heavy payroll as it relates to a lot of staff. And when you have contractors, you can team with them and you finish that work. So the business model is very clear that I want to team on these specific objectives. Let's get this work done together as a team. And then let's go on and do some other things. So,
we love that, because part of what we are always sharing with our audience in building their business is that you do have to build a team. A lot of individuals are micro-entrepreneurs or solopreneurs. So in learning how to build that team and create collaboration. So there's your first note. Go out and build that team and create those collaborations. So share with me a little bit the types of ways that you get your messages of empowerment out. So you mentioned collaborating with other organizations. So are you doing group meetings? means? What are you doing?
So I do have some federal contracts where I am contracted through, the whole process of going through competitive bids and sitting and watching the emails, hoping that you get the letter saying congratulations, right? So those competitive bids. So I actually have some federal work. I have some international work. We've gone global. TEAM-MOE has gone
congratulations.
Global. We've done work in Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago. So yay! Yes. And so with that. And then we've had some state contracts and we've had some nonprofit and a few corporate contracts. And so the other thing I wanted to mention about the company is there are 4 departments. And each one of those practice areas, if you will, actually are an extension of what I'm good at. Right? So the strategy, there's a micro business strategy that functions for each of those individual practice areas. So in social and behavior intervention, that particular practice area, we go after federal contracts because I can bring interventionists together to do clinical, medically accurate, social work and all of the whole 9 yards in terms of following that. So we've been very competitive in that. In fact, we got our first one in 2007, and we literally kept those contracts until 2015.
Wow. That's huge. I'm telling you all.
Yes, to have
keep
a federal
contract for that long.
Actually, we had 2 federal contracts for that long in women's health. So I'm very grateful for that work, and it really set us on a whole another level of branding to say, if we can do this for this particular subsegment, then how do you take that, what you learned in terms of working with those particular at-risk groups, and what is the overlay with that and mainstream women, if you will, as opposed to those who are considered to be at-risk by, definitions of public health, right? And so I started to write down the things that brought all women together. Love, romance, relationships, right? Careers and finance, and fitness. And so when you started to talk about, that's what the community engagement, taking those messages and really having a set of products, whether it be sitting on a panel, books, keynote speeches, or and we're doing something fun now. We're throwing empowerment parties, and we actually infuse day parties, just taking advantage of that. And infusing the messages, stopping the music and doing a few little activities. I really want people to be, open and vulnerable about talking about these things in the public instead of being shamed and feeling guilty, right? And just getting rid of some of that and saying, it's okay, you had, girl, that happened to you too. And using a little bit of laughter, a little bit of dance, a little bit of music therapy, and having people to feel good about unpacking all of that damage.
I love what you're doing, because you are taking something that can be very intimidating to the average person who's not in that clinical side, but taking it, making it fun, making it a safe, comfortable, fun environment to be able to share.
Absolutely.
So I love that. So
I got one more thing I want to tell you about the business. This one is it speaks to the public in public health there is a sub area called program evaluation. As you know, I have a master's, PhD, and postdoc from Johns Hopkins. Of all of those degrees, I've never had an evaluation class. I ordered books when I found out that the government had a law that over a certain dollar amount, organizations had to hire an external evaluator. I ordered 20 evaluation books, and I self-taught myself evaluation. I partnered with AID Atlanta to test that model, and the rest is history. We make most of our bread and butter is in program evaluation. We are a household name within nonprofits as it relates to our model in program evaluation. So what I want to say to people is that everything that comes into your business model, you don't necessarily need a formal degree or training. There are some things, much of learning is self-taught, and if this is something that you're passionate about, you get in there and you learn it. Now, of course, I had the other things that make being a program evaluator. I had the research skills, I had the clinical skills, the observation of social and behavior science credentials, but I never had a program evaluation class.
Well, you know what I love about that, though, is, and especially for kind of, again, everyday business, is really learning, what the need is. Where there's a need, and then how you can fill that based on your skill set. And, like you said, had to find out that, okay, there's a requirement here that, we can fulfill, and basically we created a great opportunity for ourselves.
Right.
Yeah, well, I love that. I love that. Well, everyone, there's so much that we want to talk about, so we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to come dive a little bit more into and learn more about TEAM-MOE and Dr. Quinn as well. We'll be right back.
Meet Shelley. She can make a Labradoodle look like, well, either one. And she's a marketer. Shelley uses constant contact email to spread the word about her services, whether it's staying in touch with her regular customers or reaching brand new ones. It works for Shelley, and her clients are delighted. Shelley's a marketer, and all it took was constant contact. Try it free.
Visita provides a complete business calendar, fully integrated with your client scheduling experience. You can view and manage your daily schedule and any upcoming meetings, and most importantly, schedule new appointments and follow-ups with your clients. Using Visita Calendar for client scheduling will save you time and deliver a better service to your clients. Visita Calendar automatically syncs with your existing calendar on Google, Outlook, iPhone, and more.
Welcome back, everyone. We want to thank our sponsors because, of course, we know without them we could not keep this going on. But also without you, we couldn't keep this going on. So we want to thank you as well. For those of you, again, make sure that you share this with your family and friends. Also, if you're interested in being a sponsor, please reach out to us at bizlinks.tv. Now, before the break, we were talking with Dr. Quinn, and as you heard, she has tons of credentials, a lot of experience. But we want to get into more of this message of empowerment. And I really want to talk about from the empowerment side and the motivating. You motivate so many people with what you do. What motivates you?
What motivates me is seeing people live their best lives, taking those risks, and going back and reclaiming dreams that they had thought were impossible, and just watching them break through and take the courage, and I feel, and I'm a basketball fanatic.
Okay.
And I watch sports for the coaches.
Okay.
And I watch how the players respond to the coach.
Yeah.
And so in becoming an executive coach, I model my behavior after especially a basketball coach, because the action is fast, and it's like, go, you gotta go, and when you get a fast break, you gotta take that shot,
right?
And then. And one of my mottos is, what if you had just one shot? Would you take it? And so I take a lot of people and I convince them that in this lifetime it's worth taking that one shot. So, and for whatever reason, and I didn't set out, you don't learn this in a resume format, but over the years, I've been in business for 10 years, and over the years, it's just become one of these things where the people that come and end up working with me, sticking and staying, we have similar stories, where, they're really smart, they went to school and they learned everything they could, and they followed all the rules, but somehow they just could not catch that break.
Wow.
And I'm sort of like their little Moses, like their little Harriet Tubman, like, come on, follow me, we're going north, we're going north, we're gonna make this happen. And to the point when we went to Trinidad and Tobago, I have this wonderful picture of me going out into the ocean, and I rolled up my pants legs, and literally one of my, I call them my cubs, one of my employees who just finished an MBA in an executive MBA from Emory, she literally followed me out into that ocean. I said, you follow me, we're not coming back. So just really watching people shed fear, become vulnerable, become transparent, but more than that, become courageous enough to take that one shot at the things that they thought that they were never going to achieve in this lifetime.
Wow. So I know, again, y'all have so many notes. So if you have that chance to take that one shot, are you going to take it? And what I love, and you mentioned 10 years and segueing into that, because she's not only taking one shot, she's taking 10 shots, because she is currently self-publishing 10 books.
Yes.
So now please tell me, first of all, why 10, why so many, and then just share, what are these books about?
Okay. All right. So I started the company in 2005. We turned 10 years old in 2015. And as I was going back, looking, trying to put together the history and getting ready for the sort of reception that we were having to celebrate it, I started to realize, I looked at the workshops that I'd done, I looked at all of these things, and it's like, there are 10 books. I mean, there's a book for every year. And so the books really are about the work that we've done.
Okay.
And interestingly enough, this book cover that you have here, In Pursuit of Purpose, it was actually the last book that came to my heart.
Okay.
And I was just about to release one of the books called Give It All You Got.
Okay.
I had workshopped it, and I was just about to release it. And God spoke to me and said, no, this book needs a companion, because there are so many people with the hustling spirit, with the get-rich-quick spirit. I don't want the Give It All You Got book out there without people understanding how you got there. They need to know the balance. They need to know that you got there or you got here, and you're going to continue to strive using biblical guidance for entrepreneurs, right? And so this book has 52 passages that I had from different study groups that I was in, small groups, some taken from continuing to study on things that my pastor would preach about, and some just taken from my own study of the Word. But it's 52 passages that are really geared towards the things that entrepreneurs face across starting the business, building the business, and sustaining the business. And particularly, I talk really in depth about what it took to keep what will it take to keep things going as you build staff and build teams. Because you add a lot of different spirits, a lot of different objectives, a lot of different agendas, right? And everybody who is with you should not be with you. And you have to have a spirit of discernment to know who's here for the job, who's here for the journey, and you have to have know when people's time is up. And that's very biblical. So each book is really comes from a different part of the practice area. Yeah.
I love that. I mean, there's so much, and we want to make sure, before I go forward, because I know your next question is how do you get these books? So please tell everyone how they get in touch with you and how they tap into TEAM-MOE and how they get the books as well.
You can. We have an empowerment store on our website, which is www.team-moe.com.
Okay.
Simple as that. And I'm on Facebook. I'm Dr. Quinn Motivate. So if you have trouble getting to the website, just join me on Facebook.
Right. So there you go. You know how to reach out to her now. Get some more of that motivation going. But definitely grab the books. They sound like great resources. And again, when we're talking about just the different things that you pick up and that you can pick up and notes that you can take from these sessions, one thing I want to ask you about, because with your vast background in education, you're talking about a lot of procurement opportunities. I know you had to get several certifications in that, and then taking that business beyond just you to bringing on staff and employees. What are some of the biggest challenges that you find small businesses make in making that leap to just growing their business?
The biggest growing pain is figuring out who to invest in.
Okay.
When you're building capacity, you have to pay people what they're worth, and you have to look and say, can I grow this person 2 levels up, not 1 level up? But if I have managers, can I see them as a VP, not just a director? And then on the other side, you have to build trust with them that they unpack their goals and objectives and really reveal what it is that they want. And unfortunately, our corporate system has people so fearful of telling the truth about what they want. So I had to really disarm people to say, nobody held me back. If you look at my resume, the longest job I've ever had was my own company, 10 years. Everywhere else I'm here for, my first job I was there for 5 years. Then everywhere else 2 years, 3 years, but no more than that, because I get in and I get out because I knew exactly what I needed to experience. And so trying then to explain, especially to the new millennials, I'm not here to hurt you by you telling me what your goals and objectives are. The brand of the company is to motivate people to live their best lives, to engage you in those kinds of projects that would help you. What I learned from that, though, is that people had to come to grips with the fact that what they ultimately told their parents and peers what they wanted to be when they grew up, that's not really what they wanted. Those were the socially acceptable responses. And when I started to dig deeper into what's really in your heart to achieve, and just really unpacking that. So I think the biggest lesson is that you have to invest in people, and you have to become interested in what they're interested in, and you have to provide on-the-job training opportunities for them to become what they want to be.
Okay. Now let me ask you this. So especially in talking about the investing in the people, and that includes yourself, investing in yourself. So many startups have that fear of that investment and taking things to bring in on that 7 employees. We had those struggles that we had to go through with visiting CB Network, where we had to start bringing in other folks, because you can't do it all yourself if you're going to grow your business. But then you also might not be in that financial position yet, but it's that catch-22. So kind of what do you share with businesses that are somewhat in that catch-22? You have to make that investment in order to make the money that you need to do to keep growing.
So 2 things I want to say about that. Number one, I was in a very good position because prior to starting my own business, I was a part-time instructor at Emory and at Georgia State.
Okay.
So my first group of people were those who were looking for their first job in their fields. So they had already experienced me in the classroom and how I bridged the gap between theory and practice and helped them to find some internships.
Okay.
So it was easy for me to bring on that first tier of students. Now, to your point, when they were able to see that in the first 18 months that they had something special, that they could do this job, that they built their competence and their confidence in what they were doing, then they were ready to grow, right? Okay. And being in Atlanta, a lot of them wanted jobs at CDC, they wanted jobs at Emory, so I had those networks. What I had to be sure, though, is that before I pushed them or supported them in leaving to go to CDC and Emory, it's a real balance of you got to be ready.
Right.
These are the things that you need. Look at this job description. You've not done this yet.
Okay.
You don't know how to write proposals. You're not going to be ready for that environment until you can do these.
Right.
So really working with them around that. The other thing I learned the hard way is not to cut any HR corners. I don't care if it's friends, family, even students. If you just hire somebody because you need warm bodies, you send a message to them that you need them more than they need you. And so what I learned the hard way is you have to put the job out to bid. You have to post it. And what helped me with that actually is having those federal contracts because it was, for those it's the law. And so if it worked for that part of the business, then it's like, well, even for those that do not require it, it just works. And I realized that the people who had to post the jobs, they had to come in, they had to interview, they had to do writing samples, they had to do facilitators, mock facilitator sessions, all those things, right? To signal that they could do the job. They were the most professional. They felt like they had earned a job, and they felt more competent in that they could use those skills to go somewhere else, right? Whereas those that I sort of brought in because we got this contract, I almost sound like the first hustle, like, okay, this is what I got.
Right.
And it's like, all right. So it sounded like a hookup. It sounded like I'm gonna make a lot of money to do a little bit of work.
Right.
I struggled with those people, and they were in and out. And to the point where I had to just say, you know what? I'm not gonna invite you on getting unemployment. Please leave today. You can have unemployment with my blessings.
Right. Yes.
Because it was just a weight lifted off me. Right.
Exactly.
And so, but through that process and growing, I just learned that I would never cut HR corners. And for those people that I felt had the competence and the courage to grow, that I would invest in them. To the point where some of them used to spend the night at my house freely, so we could get the work done, and they're so sharp today.
I love that, and creating those opportunities. So, because what I'm hearing is don't just take the leap of faith in starting the business. The leap doesn't stop there. You then have to take that next leap into growing the business and investing in business, and not just kind of cutting those corners. We know small businesses and entrepreneurs out there that we like to figure out, okay, how can we kind of make this work? But you got to stop doing that.
And I got to say this too. I'm also an executive coach.
Okay.
Let me tell you the group that I have had to manage through a particular process, and now I have some traction in this, and it's like a repeat pattern.
Okay.
people who left corporate America to start their own business because they wanted control of their time. Okay?
Yeah.
They wanted to spend more time at church. They wanted to spend more time with their families. They wanted to spend more time on their personal hobbies. Then you start this business, and before you know it, you have no time.
That's
for
right.
the things and so it's like, not only am I not getting all of the benefits and the security and stability of being in corporate America, but I don't have the one thing that I thought I would have, because little people called employees take up a lot of time.
Yeah.
And so I've coached people actually to back the business back. Stop growing, because that's not what you wanted. You wanted your lifestyle. You wanted a particular lifestyle. So we go back to, what is it that you really want? And I say to people, when you start a business, you had better have a strong why. Why am I starting this? And why do I want to grow it?
Yes.
You know, because if you don't, you're going to, you know, end up in a corner. And this is the biggest secret, right? Entrepreneurs are some of the biggest crybabies. You know, we get all on Facebook and social media. I'm a boss, you know. We post all these memes that really, you know, and we get in a corner and we're like, Lord have mercy, am I going to be able to meet payroll next week?
You are so right.
And so, and some of those tears come from the fact that your priorities are out of whack. And I say to people, entrepreneurship is not about work-life balance. It's about prioritization. I just had to deal with that. I got 3 family members who are graduated from college in the next week, and they cost me $12,000 in community events because they locked me down on the calendar. And I am not leaving Atlanta until all 3 of those graduations. That's called prioritization. You know, having your and so what ends up happening is the things that people thought were deal breakers in corporate America, you then start your own company, and slowly but surely those things become the same things that you were running away from. So you have to face them head on.
Right. I tell you, I love Dr. Quinn. Y'all already know, because we've been telling you this. I'm so glad that you're on here to share it, and to share it in a more powerful way, because I'm going to tell you, we have, you know, a lot of people that start or say they want to start a business, and I tell them, you got to love running the business. It's not about just that one particular thing, you know, and then when the snow days come, you work from home, you don't get a snow day.
That's right. So big old server set up. Everybody got internet. Let's go.
That's it. I love it. I'll tell you, there's so much more that we could really talk about. But what I really want to ask is, what's next for TEAM-MOE?
TEAM-MOE, Dr. Quinn?
Both. Tell us.
Okay. Well, for TEAM-MOE, I'm in, again, after 10 years of doing those contracts and being in the field, on the front lines, doing the interventions, implementing those that I've started. What I'm doing now is I'm retooling to be a capacity builder, a trainer of trainers. So the next round of work for TEAM-MOE is to put me in front of people who are actually doing the work. As a facilitator, as a trainer. And a lot of the books, Leadership Matters, Evaluating for Effectiveness, Cultivating Our Gems, a lot of those are really the soft and the hard stories of what I've done over the years to do this work. And then I want to use those as opportunities to train other people to do the work and perfect that model and keep it going. For Dr. Quinn, I actually am really fascinated and just really all hands on in terms of doing the whole Dr. Quinn's Motivate brand. I really, really love doing interventions in non-clinical settings. And I've been practicing a little bit. You know, I've actually gotten on stage and done some clinical interventions, quote-unquote clinical interventions, using the comedic stage. You know, and that was a fundraiser, but it was so much fun. They gave me the mic. People asked life coaching questions from the audience, and I answered them in a comedic way. And it's like, are y'all really laughing at that? All right, it's working. And it was fun. And then I've done it with music therapy, and I really think that there are so many people who are terrified that people are going to find out their deepest, darkest secrets. And my thing is, you do realize we see your slip hanging already, right? Let me pull that up for you. You know, and so that's sort of the way in which we do the work, and it's really taking more private techniques that have been perfected in interventions and taking them to the public.
Love it, love it. Everyone, we are so excited, and we hope you are as well. We hope you took some great notes and really look at the details of what was said and pull out what you can pull out for yourself and your business, or even just for yourself personally as well. We want to make sure that you reach out to Dr. Quinn because she just told you she has some great opportunities that are coming on the horizon, that she works with a lot of great folks and just helps them with just being motivated, taking their sales to the next level, taking their businesses to the next level as well. Dr. Quinn, one more time before we leave, please tell everyone how they can get in touch with you.
You can email me easily at drquinnmotivates@gmail.com. And let me just say this.
Yes.
I need motivators. I need you to contact me because I am about to embark upon a journey. I'm going to be 50 years old in 2 years.
Okay.
And I made a pledge that I will have 50 books in publication. So I need motivators. I need coaches. I need cheerleaders. I need people who are saying, I'll walk this journey. If you can do 50, I can do 1 book. And I just need people on my team for us to finish strong.
Yes, I love that. Thank you so much, everyone out there. You have heard the call. So now you know where you want to go to answer. Give them the website again.
The website is www.TEAM-MOE.com. My email is drquinnmotivates@gmail.com.
We love it, everyone. We want to make sure that you check your Dr. Quinn out and keep an eye out more because I've seen it, the hashtag I am Dr. Quinn Motivates. Yes. So make sure you keep an eye out for that coming as well. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, everyone. We want to remind you, go back, watch this episode again, get those notes really down and study them. Go back and continue to review them. Share it with your family, friends, and your colleagues as well at www.bizlinks.tv. Don't forget to also check out all of our social media properties, Facebook, YouTube. We're actually even on Pinterest too, so don't forget to check us out there, and also Instagram as well. You can find us at BizLinks TV on all of those properties. Make sure that you like, that you subscribe, that you share. It makes such a difference. It helps us to get our guests out there more, as well as you can get those notifications through YouTube when more episodes are released. I'm Pam Alexander with BizLinks TV Network, exposing your business to the world.